All right, before I get into today's video, again, I want to thank you guys all for the outpouring of support and hold on to your tidy whities. Today is going to be a long, brutal video, and I hope you guys stay tuned in until the end. Tell me in the comment section that you heard me say Shazam and that informs me that you guys made it to the end. I'll probably give you guys another word to say since I said it at the beginning. Anyhow, let's get into today's video. So, this morning I went to go pick up my lunch. It's payday Friday, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna eat something a little special. It's been a 4-day work week, but the workload has been that of 20 days. So I got in my car and started driving west on Baseline Road, thinking, eventually I'm gonna run into a Chipotle. It's a matter of timing, right? Just like running into a McDonald's. You just have to keep driving, and sooner or later it's gonna be sitting right there. And of course, my Siri app or the maps on my phone wasn't working, and I ended up passing it, having to do a UE and coming back. And after spending 40 minutes looking for it, I found it, walked up, and it was closed still. And so I had to drive across the street or the parking lot to Raising Cane's, which I did not like. And while I was doing that, I get a call from a higher level educator who said, "Hey, Millennial STEAM, I need your help. For some reason, the corporation decided to teach a class at a level that's higher than the students were expecting on their final exam, so everyone failed. So now I've got to go back through and redo all of the work in order for them to still be able to get their certification." She had hours and hours of work because this isn't something that's easily done, but she wasn't mad. I would have been mad in that situation, but she's such a sweet person that corporations love people like her. They don't get mad in the workplace when things don't work. They just simply turn around, grab their ankles, and work for hours. It's a perfect example of a person that just doesn't get mad. A second situation having to do with something similar happened to be in my car both of these times. I was driving home from work, and someone called my supervisor from the corporate office and said, "Hey, by the way, we have we're expecting to lose hundreds of employees this month because they've changed the rules inside of the office buildings and the employees don't like it." They haven't told me specifically what that change has been, but I'm sure it's longer hours and less pay. Because the last week they had, I believe, 15 people quit in one office, and they're expecting hundreds more. And so when my boss called me and told me, "Hey, by the way, Millennials team, it's going to be real bad in the month of September," I was just like, you know what? We can barely handle the workload that we have. Everyone in the office is severely depressed because of the workload, the pay, and the overall attitude of the corporate office towards the regular workers. And so, with that said, I again was sitting in my car. This is the third time I was thinking and sitting in my car. It's brutally hot here in Arizona. By September, we should stop seeing 110 degrees, but it's not. So, sitting in my car, having uh, a meltdown because I was hot. I didn't like what I was hearing from my boss, and I kept thinking to myself, you know what? I don't know how much longer I can do this. And so this is going to lead me into talking point number one. Hourly wages aren't just about earning money. They're about keeping you locked in a cycle where you can never truly get ahead. And that's what I was thinking in my car. You're locked in a cycle where you can never truly get ahead. As I mentioned earlier, today's payday. You know what? All my money's gone to to credit cards, to car payments, to insurance. It's all gone. Just like that. You earn it and it's gone because it doesn't have any there's no comfort built into our paychecks anymore. Our MIC paychecks are designed simply to get us from A to B, keep us from living paycheck to paycheck, hand to mouth. And it's I have to say that after doing this for my entire life, it's intentional. There are no lavish vacations. There's no savings account. There's no looking forward to retirement. Every 2 weeks, you're looking forward to just being able to get by for another 2 weeks. And frankly, it's just the grind is becoming unbearable in this country. And I'm not alone. The main reason this channel exists is so that I can come here every single day and tell you guys this isn't normal. We shouldn't live like this. We shouldn't be working for food and shelter and not this hard. Like, they are working us into the ground. And instead of hiring more people, they're every day they're finding ways of getting rid of people and then calling it performance. Oh, you're not meeting your metrics? Guess what? We're going to have to find someone else who will. And that will work for less money, because every time they get rid of a long-term employee, they can bring in a fresh one that they can start at a lower hourly wage and set the bar really high. You're going to meet these metrics. If not, you're out. And this is particularly bitter with salespeople, which have the highest turnover rate of any department. Any place that you go in America that has a sales department, the turnover is going to be incredibly high. And for the people that stay in sales long term, especially at one company, I tip my hat to you, because it's a very stressful job. The money can be good, but it can also be really, really bad. If you don't hit your commission ju- uh, at the highest point, if you don't get any sales that week because everyone said no to you, your paycheck is going to reflect that. It's going to look bad on you, and there's only going to be a matter of time before they realize, you know what, that person's not making enough money for us. Therefore, we need to get rid of them. And they aren't shy about getting rid of salespeople. I see it every single week. There's at least 5 to 10 people that aren't there. That they get to Friday, they're not told. Remember, they don't give you a 2 week notice when they're going to fire you for performance. It's Friday. It may be mid morning. It may be the afternoon. But at some point in the day, you're going to try to log into your computer, and it's going to tell you you can't. And that's intentional, so that you don't do anything malicious, try to send an email to everyone in the company, because we've actually had to put rules into the email system so you can't spam the whole company with your grievances when you get fired. I believe you're only allowed up to 10 recipients, I think, if you get fired, and then that's it. Because they've had that problem in the past where people just sent a nasty gram to the whole company about telling them how much they hate this place. So they've had to do this. But with that said, let's skip on to talking point number 2. The dream we were sold is slipping away, leaving us wondering if it was ever real to begin with. The broken American dream. And here I put in my original talking points is that I thought I was at least going to make it to Homer Simpson success, right? I grew up watching The Simpsons. I figured that when I was Homer's age, which I imagine in the cartoon he's probably, I'm going to say early 30s, that at least at that point, that I'd have my Marge, that I'd have my 2 kids, that I'd have a dog, that I'd have a house, and that my dad would be in the old folks' home. And look at how many vacations The Simpsons go on throughout I don't know how long it's been on the air, but dozens and dozens of years that it's been on the air. The Simpsons are always going on vacation, like one of my favorites when they go to Australia. But I haven't had any lavish vacations. I haven't. If there's one thing in The Simpsons that they never discuss is, what does Mr. Burns pay Homer that he's out picketing in front of the nuclear power plant while he has a home, vacations, and obviously he's never really strapped for cash. Marge never has to get a serious job, and there's no mention of money. It's like money doesn't exist in the way that it does in our world, where it means everything. where you have to make a certain amount of money to be successful. And that hourly wage starts at $50 at the $50 minimum living wage. I'm not going to call it the $50 minimum wage because I want to abolish the minimum wage so badly. If I could push a button right now to get rid of the minimum wage, I would in a heartbeat. I'd keep pushing that button until it broke off and fell off of my desk because it's disgusting, the wages that we make right now. Because if you look at the cost of life and you look at your McPaycheck, there's no correlation between the McPaycheck and life. They're two separate things. And to believe that a cartoon character could have a better life than a person who's highly educated, who's been working for his entire adult life in the same industry, and to never become successful, and not just feel alone in the fact that I'm a loser, but to look around at my coworkers and see the same thing, to talk to that woman all this week who says that she's severely depressed because they tried to pay her minimum wage for being an office manager, and she had to plead with them to give her more money because she doesn't really have an education, a fancy education. She most people have a basic education, but a basic education doesn't mean you deserve a substandard life. All jobs should be required to pay a living family wage, regardless of whether you choose to have a family or not. We should all be entitled to housing, affordable food, transportation. As long as you're doing your part, you shouldn't be punished because the people at the top want all the money for themselves. And when the CEO can make 1,000 times more than the lowest paid employee, there's something seriously wrong with this system in which you go to work and it means nothing. So, moving on to talking point number 3, alternative paths. One where your value isn't defined by your hours, but by your creativity. And this is where the online careers begin. I used to think that it was a stupid, crazy idea to believe that you can make money online. And to some extent, I still believe that the most I've made working a job like what you guys are listening to right now, this is a job for me. This isn't just a fun after work activity. At some point, it stopped being that. When you're making $1,000 doing this, it takes a hell of a lot of creativity to be a good content creator. I have made thousands of videos on YouTube. Thousands. After I changed my channel and it became Millennial Steam, which was about 2 years ago, before that I had at least 5,000 videos. I never got any subscribers. Something changed about the message that I was bringing. Something happened. I've gotten 600 subscribers in 5 days. Something happened. Our society changed and became much more receptive to people like me because they're starting to look around and seeing their classmates, their family, their friends, even strangers failing at life when they're supposed to be successful. And having to turn to a career of being a podcaster may be the only ticket to some sort of freedom that you're going to get. Because the traditional 9 to 5 grind is never going to make you comfortable. It wasn't designed that way. So if you keep doing the same thing, if you keep going to your $15 to $20 hour job, you're never going to own a home. You're never going to be able to afford a relationship. And you're never going to be comfortable. And you're going to keep working until they put you into the pine box. Because that job was never designed to sustain you. Now, when you look at becoming a online entertainer like what I am, this job has the possibility of exponential growth because my message is being heard all over the planet. And even if they took down my channel once, because I've been able to come back and I've gotten 3,000 1,000 hours of watch time since Monday with 600 subscribers. I don't know how the algorithm hit YouTube, but I mean, it has been insane for me. If I can continue to grow like this is going to have to be my only job. I can live stream all day. I can make 1 to 3 videos every single day, and I will never run out of material because hourly work has never led anywhere in my life. And when I look even at the people going to school right now, their likelihood of their coming out, and all of you trade school people are going to be like, well, just get a trade, millennials team. Really? Coming out to make just above the minimum wage? Is that really what you want me to do? Is to bog myself down with trade school student loans to come out to make $15 to $20 an hour? It's not a viable career anymore. Money for people is going to come from where the proletariat spends its money on entertainment. And I find it unfortunate because I believe my whole life that as long as you became educated and you were a good hard worker, that you would have those things. You would have the basics of life: housing, food, and transportation. But that's not the case anymore. I see a lot of people working and a lot of people not making it. I see people who are scared. And that's the thing. Today's job report, they tried to spin it as hard as they could. Every left leaning news agency this morning, when the jobs report came out and it showed that it was much lower, it's like, oh, don't worry about it. Well, guess what? We have an election in 2 months. They have to spin it for their candidate, because if they don't, if we look at the numbers and we look at ourselves moving closer and closer to a recession, which I believe we're in already, I believe that they have twisted the statistics so many times on unemployment rates, on good jobs, and the overall creation of jobs. It doesn't matter if they make 10 million McDonald's jobs tomorrow. Those jobs will never support a human being with actual bills. So you can have all the jobs you want in the world, but if they're not paying a family wage, it doesn't matter because nobody wants them. And very few people can afford to take them. And yet they keep pumping them out like mutants. All right, talking point number 4. Let's see. Do I want that one or do I want this? Let's look at, I'm going to skip ahead to my next one. People everywhere are waking up to the realization that traditional work no longer offers security or fulfillment. I've been preaching this for years. There's no job security. The corporation doesn't like you. You don't like the corporation. And the corporation really, really doesn't like the fact that there's no loyalty. Every person at my current job that's quitting because of the low pay and the demand and the increase in productivity, the corporation just doesn't understand that. Ask any person that's out of touch with reality. Any person that can walk into a car dealership right now and buy a vehicle cash does not understand the problems of the proletariat. And these are the people pulling the gears in our society. These people that don't understand that people are suffering. And you know what? Sometimes I have to think to myself that they do understand, and the cruelty to the proletariat is on purpose. You have to go to bed believing that the capitalists believe that the people who don't own capital want to be that way. The first time I heard a person say this, I literally, my eyes turned into silver dollars, because for someone to believe that poverty is a choice, and that there are people out there who truly believe that poverty is a choice, I'm astonished that those thoughts could even be inside of another human's brain. All right, for our toxic positivity, so someone put a rap term into a comment today. Okay, I'm just going to read you guys the the description of this. So, spitting bars is a term used in rap to describe the rhythm that artists freestyle in slam poetry and rap battles. You know what? The only thing I want out of our society is we need a radical shift in the way the proletariat is treated. There shouldn't be this divide between the people that make more than enough money and the people that are scraping by paycheck to paycheck. The person who got paid today and is either at the payday loan place because they don't have enough money, rent was due on Sunday and it's the sixth day of the month, they're late, they're paying fees, and they still didn't make enough money to cover their rent. And they're over there pawning their Xbox or their jewelry or their wedding ring, or they're selling a car. They're getting rid of something that they really wanted because they just didn't make enough money. And this is a person that works really hard. And yet there they are in that situation where they're going into those vultures in the payday loan places. And there's a place that I like to go eat close to my work that is one of those places, and there's always someone there. And you have to think, it's like, well, did that person lose their job, or is that person working and still can't make it? Remember, $15 to $20 an hour isn't buying you a whole chunk of the a whole real chunk of the American dream. In fact, you're just chipping away at it. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, just say, Oscar the Grouch in the comment section if you made it this far. And I appreciate every single one of you coming here to watch my channel, because every one of you is a potential for me to get out of this, to stop being poor. Because this is the only way out. This is the only job that I can think of that's not playing the lottery or hitting up a bank or marrying rich or getting in a horrible accident. I mean, there's no real way of escaping the wage cage other than than praying to God that tomorrow you don't have to wake up to put on that humiliating uniform. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.